so welcome back to Scordemy NEET আৰু আজি তোমালোকৰ lecture number 7 ঠিক আছে আমাৰ RE-NEET যোনটো crash course আমি কৰি আছিলো তোমালোকৰ PYQ series আৰু লগতে the different kind of expected questions that you can expect in your RE-NEET that is scheduled on 21st June ঠিক আছে আমি হেতু series-ৰ আজি তোমালোকৰ 7 number lecture হ'ব ঠিক আছে আৰু আজি আমি তোমালোকক কৰাম from your 12th syllabus ঠিক আছে 12th syllabus তোমালোকৰ reproductive health and human reproduction or কিছুমান questions আমি একেলগে ডিসকাস কৰিম ঠিক আছে লগতে মই এটা কথা ক তোমালোকক সোৱা human reproduction already মই এটা ক্লাছত কৰাইছো হয়না already হেতু কৰাইছো কিন্তু সোৱা whenever you are studying reproductive health okay এইটো chapter যেতিয়া তোমালোকে পঢ়া এটো তোমালোকে অকলে পঢ়াতকে মই ভাবো হিউম্যান ৰিপ্ৰডাকচন লগত তোমালোকে যেতিয়া লিংক কৰি পঢ়িবা then it will be more effective okay so হেতু কাৰণে আমি কি কৰিম and again মই তোমালোকক কৈছিলো হয়নে যে some chapters are of high weightage chapters so reproductive health যদি তোমালোকে chapter টো যদি সোৱা chapter টো পৰা ইমান এটা questions তোমালোকে নাপাবা as compared to your human reproduction okay so হেতু কাৰণে মই কি কৰিছো even though I have covered human reproduction in another class still আজি মই তোমালোকক reproductive health or লগত that chapter also human reproduction also আমি কিছুমান আকৌ few questions আমি আজি practice কৰিম ঠিক আছে okay because why because human reproduction chapter is more important okay if you see from your weightage যদি weightage ওপৰত তোমালোকে হেতু perspective পৰা চাবলৈ যোৱা then human reproduction is more important হেতু কাৰণে আমি লগতে আজি আমি half questions এনেকুৱাকে কৰিম ঠিক আছে okay so এটো তোমালোকৰ বাবে এটা ভাল ৰিভিজন হৈ যাব হয় না নাই yes because sorry তোমালোকক যদি মনত আছে মই কৈছিলো starting ওতে যে this phase is not about studying more but it is about revising better হয় না যিমান তোমালোকে ৰিভিজন কৰিবা হিমানে তোমালোকৰ marks improve হ'ব score improve হ'ব হয় না নাই ultimately selection হ'ব so বেছি দেৰি নকৰি let's get started with our class okay so first question yes so first question পঢ়া কি দিয়া আছে which of the following sexually transmitted diseases is completely curable if detected early and treated properly ki hodise yate what are all these AIDS genital herpes gonorrhea and hepatitis B ebor ki hoy ebor ami jano je all these diseases are your STDs that is your sexually transmitted diseases right etia ki hodise je which of this disease is curable if detected early so the early detection then it is curable kuntu hobo answer is your gonorrhea okay sorry so answer will be your option C that is gonorrhea and students wa yate eta kotha kom je this kind of disease so jetia moi STD kolu hoine STD when I say about STD all this different kind of your sexually transmitted diseases they are of mainly two types that is one is your what bacterial ঠিক আছে one is your bacterial মই এপিনে লিখিছো হবো yes one is your what bacterial that is the causative agent is your bacteria whereas another type is your what virus that is viral virus no actually it will be your viral that means those STDs that are that are or you can say whose causative agent is a virus usually the bacterial STDs are curable if detected okay provided if detected early hoine so yare bhitor tumaloke soa eketa options of bhitorot gonorrhea is a bacterial STD aru bacteria naam ki hoy kon ki hoy gonorrhea bacteria one second students okay just a second so the causative agent in case of a gonorrhea is a Neisseria gonorrhea hoine nai bacteria to naam ki hoy bacteria to naam tumalokor ki hoy swa Neisseria okay gonorrhea thik ase etu hoise tumalokor bacteria okay whereas AIDS is caused by your human immunodeficiency virus HIV virus hoine this is a viral STD okay it is not treatable there is no cure for AIDS okay there is no cure for AIDS মই তোমালোকক AIDS or বিষয় আৰু questions কৰাম তাত আমি ভালকে ডিসকাস কৰিম ঠিক আছে ইয়াতে মই নক okay so এতিয়া next okay next কি হয় lips loop is a what lips loop is a what কি হয় এটো this is a contraceptive device হয় না contraceptive method lips loop কি হয় এটা what type of contraceptive is it hormone releasing IUD or you can say copper releasing or non medicated or oral contraceptive কি হয় এটো কোনটো ক্যাটাগরিত পৰে so regarding contraceptive we have different forms right some are hormone releasing whereas some of the contraceptives are copper releasing whereas some of the lips loop they are your non-medicated IUD, okay? Non-medicated IUD. Usually this is inserted by the doctor, okay? By the physicians or the experts in the uterus, right? Under sterile conditions. So this is a non-medicated IUD. ঠিক আছে মনত থাকিব আমি এইখিনি বিষয়ে পঢ়িম different types you have to know the different types of hormone releasing usually কি হয় তোমালোকৰ LNG20 থাকে হয়নে LNG20 আৰু progesterone ঠিক আছে তাৰ পিছত copper releasing কি হয় copper releasing IUD we have CO7 copper 7 copper T yes and আৰু কি আছিল এটা আছিল তোমাৰ আৰু এটা আছিল multilute 375 ঠিক আছে multilute 375 copper T then what copper 7 আৰু multilute 375 all these comes under your copper releasing IUD and oral contraceptive the most popular form in India especially this is your Saheli yes this is very important okay Saheli okay আমি পঢ়িম হেতু বিষয় মই জাস্ট তোমালোকক এটা ইয়াতে এক্সাম্পল বোৰ তোমালোকক মনত পেলাই দিছো কি আছিল so lips loop মনত ৰাখিবা this is a non medicated IUD okay it is neither hormone releasing neither copper releasing or neither your oral contraceptive so done it is one next question মই কৈছিল না Saheli this is very important okay what is Saheli this is a oral contraceptive yes it is a oral contraceptive but কেনেকুৱা oral contraceptive হয় তোমালোকৰ কেনেকুৱা হয় steroidal hoy na non steroidal hoy this is your non steroidal oral contraceptive okay non steroidal oral contraceptive and this is the reason why Saheli is a very you can say very friendly contraceptive you can say pill used by our majority of your married women okay married women for what for preventing your pregnancy unwanted pregnancy okay edu kenuka hoy how is it consumed how is Saheli consumed Saheli is once a week pill okay once a week pill and there are in the sachet okay whenever you find Saheli or whenever you go to buy a Saheli in the pharmacy okay pharmaceutical stores then you will usually see that there are totally or in one sachet there are 21 pills okay there are 21 pills okay that means what does it mean since it is a once a week pill that means you do not have to consume okay you do not have to consume Saheli pill during your menstruation cycle okay for 1 week yes 1 week so the average cycle of menstruation for women this is around 3 to 5 days so you can say approx 7 days okay so that week when you are going undergoing your menstruation in that week you do not need to consume this Saheli okay otherwise once a week this pill is consumed and see again one more important thing here is that Saheli tablet to tumalokor ki kore since this is a non steroidal oral contraceptive there are very few side effects take ase there are very few side effects tumalokor hormonal imbalance na kore but logote eta bostu monot rakhiba je Saheli okay this tablet okay this medication it does not prevent ovulation okay it does not prevent ovulation and that is the reason why menstruation still occurs okay their menstruation still occurs ovulation noro khai kintu ki kore it makes implantation impossible it makes the cervix hostile to your sperms thik ase sperms but tumalokor the cervix or you can say the uterus it is made unsuitable so the sperms die and even if some sperms survive then it makes Saheli tablet this makes implantation of the embryo impossible so if there is no implantation there is no pregnancy isn't it if there is no implantation there is no pregnancy okay ঠিক আছে এখানে মনত রাখিবা and this is your non steroidal okay it is not steroidal oral contraceptive done then next question so emergency contraceptive pills are effective when taken within emergency contraceptive mane ki buja so Saheli was also oral contraceptive but it was non steroidal it was once a week what is emergency contraceptive pill first of all it took when this kind of contraceptive pills are being recommended by the physician which are the situations or which are the circumstances ketia dia hoy so there can be many reasons if there is an unprotected intercourse or if there is an failure of other contraceptive methods then some sexual assault cases, okay, rape case, then you can say unwanted pregnancies. এইবোৰত যদি তোমালোকৰ এইবোৰত তোমালোকৰ কি দিয়া হয় usually emergency contraceptive pill recommend কৰা হয় by the physician, okay, ঠিক আছে. And the very popular emergency contraceptive pill আমি কি বুলি কওঁ, কি হয় এটো you should know, okay, this is very important. This is sex education is very important for you all because you all are also entering into the adult phase, isn't it? It is very important for you all to know all the side effects, all the benefits, and all the health associated risks that come along with this kind of medications, okay. So the very common form, or you can say very commercial use of this type of contraceptive, this is your I pill, okay, I pill. This is an emergency contraceptive pill and it has to be consumed within your 72 hours of your coitus, okay, within 72 hours of your what, coitus, ঠিক আছে. 72 hours মানে কিমান হয়, 3 days, okay, 3 days, ঠিক আছে. 72 hours means 3 days. But লগতে ইয়াতে আৰু এটা বস্তু মনত ৰাখিবা যে so unprotected sexual intercourse, no matter what is the situation, it might be your sexual assault, it might be your rape case, or it might be your any kind of your unprotected intercourse, or you can say failure of any contraceptive devices, হয়নে, তুমি যিমান জলদি কনজিউম কৰিবা, ঠিক আছে, the more early you consume this emergency contraceptive pill, the more it is effective, ঠিক আছে, the more it is effective. So এটো কেনেকুৱা কাম কৰে, emergency contraceptive কেনেকৈ কাম কৰে, it kills the sperms, okay, it kills the sperms, ঠিক আছে, and prevents your implantation of the embryo in your uterus, ঠিক আছে. So it prevents pregnancy, okay. These are very effective, these are very strong, and you should never consume, okay, you should never consume this kind of pill without your what, without your doctor's recommendation, okay, because this can what, this can also lead to your infertility if consumed in a what, in a heavy dose, okay, ঠিক আছে. সো এইখিনি তোমালোকক মই এক্সট্ৰা কথা কৈছোঁ লগতে, বিকজ দিজ আৰ ভেৰি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট ফৰ ইউ অল. অনলি পঢ়িলেই নহ'ব, হয়নে নাই, তোমালোকে ৰিয়েল লাইফ এপ্লিকেশ্যনতো জানিব লাগিব বস্তুবোৰ, তোমালোকে বেলেগকো ক'ব পাৰিব লাগিব, হয়নে নাই. ইউ অল আৰ এডাল্ট নাও, য়েছ, ইউ অল হেভ এণ্টাৰ্ড দ্য এডাল্ট ফেজ নাও, য়েছ, আই হোপ ইউ অল আৰ 18+, ইজন্ট ইট, কোনো 18 বিলো নাই. চ' ইউ শুড ন' অল দিছ, ঠিক আছে, অ'কে. নাও নেক্সট কুৱেশ্যন চোৱা, which of the following diseases is not completely curable? Not completely curable. And what are these? Syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydiasis, genital herpes. Ki hoy ebor? These are again STDs, yes? These are again your STDs. So ki koisilo my first question on that only those kind of STDs whose causative agent is your bacteria, they are curable, provided if they are detected early, right? Ito koisilo moi. So ki hobo yate? Syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydiasis, ebor ki hoy? These are your bacterial STDs, isn't it? So they are curable. So which one of the disease is not curable? This is your genital herpes, okay? Genital herpes. Again, so genital herpes ki hoy? Genital herpes is again, this is the, you can say, ito tumalokor initial stage tumalokor dhoribo para. Ki hoy initial stage? It is the initial stage of your HIV infection, okay? HIV infection. Jodi genital herpes tumalokor cure noy, if it is not detected, then it can lead to your finally HIV infection, and again HIV infection tumalokor goi kine at the last will lead to your AIDS. So AIDS is not a direct, direct ki boli ko direct tomar মানে directly তোমালোকে AIDS stage গৈ নোপোৱা, ঠিক আছে. মই তোমালোকক হিটো বুজাব খুজিছো যে তোমালোকে directly AIDS গৈ নোপোৱা. If you find any patient, okay, if you come across any patient who is suffering from or who is diagnosed, okay, who is diagnosed with your AIDS, that is what, acquired, full form ki hoy AIDS or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, okay, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So AIDS is the last stage, okay, AIDS is the last stage of your HIV infection, that is human immunodeficiency virus, HIV virus. So tumalkor last stage hoy AIDS to, ঠিক আছে. So aru enike kobo paru tumalkor swa, yes, you know cancer, right? You know cancer, every one of you know cancer kenuka hoy tumalkor usually stages thake, first stage, second stage, third stage, and fourth stage, hoy ne tenuka hoy. So even this kind of your STDs, okay, তোমালোকে এনেকে বুজা যে genital herpes this is the first stage, okay, first stage, because genital herpes তোমালোকৰ যি symptoms থাকিব, okay, যি symptoms থাকিব যি তোমালোকৰ problems face কৰিব the patient, usually same problem তোমালোকৰ কি দেখিবা এজন HIV infected patientত দেখিবা আৰু এজন AIDS diagnosed হোৱা patientত দেখিবা, ঠিক আছে। so this is a starting phase, genital herpes this is a starting phase, তোমালোকৰ কি হয় immunity gets weakened, right? তোমালোকে easily infection পোৱা, তোমালোকৰ কি হ'ব easily infection হ'ব, তাৰপিছত তোমালোকৰ যদি কিবা even if you are suffering from a simple disease, suppose, ঠিক আছে, even if you are suffering from simple disease such as your common cold or you can say sickness, then it will take more amount of time to recover even from a small or minor issue, ঠিক আছে। laziness হ'ব তোমাৰ, fatigue হ'ব, okay, fatigue হ'ব তোমালোকৰ, কি হ'ব blood will not get purified, kidney will will function slowly then it is required, so এইখিনি তোমালোকে দেখিবলে পোৱা, and this is a result of your viral infection, genital herpes is a result of your viral infection, okay, ঠিক আছে। হ'ব মই AIDS ৰ বিষয়ে আৰু কম ভালকে, because AIDS is most this is the most important of your STDs, যদি আমি STD বোৰ পঢ়িব যাওঁ, AIDS disease this is the most important, okay, you have to know in details, okay, even though this is a PYQ discussion, still মই ভাবো যে তোমালোকক কিছুমান ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট কনসেপ্ট মই যেনেকৈ কৈছিলোঁ ষ্টাৰ্টিঙত যে ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট কনসেপ্ট আমি ফ'কাছ কৰিম, আননেচেচাৰী থিয়ৰী আমি নাযাওঁ, সেইটো কাৰণে তোমালোকক মই এইখিনি অকণমান ডিটেইলছত বুজাই দিছোঁ, অ'কে, ঠিক আছে। বিকজ কুৱেশ্যনছ তোমালোকৰ এইখিনিৰ পৰাই আহিব, কুৱেশ্যনছ তোমালোকৰ এইখিনি বস্তুৰ পৰাই আহিব, জাষ্ট দ্য ৱে অফ আস্কিং উইল বি ডিফাৰেণ্ট, অ'কে, ৱে অফ আস্কিং উইল বি ডিফাৰেণ্ট। চ' দেন নেক্সট, amniocentesis was originally developed for, amniocentesis was originally developed for, কি হয় amniocentesis? amnion sac ত কি থাকে? What is an amnion sac? The sac that protects the fetus, right, from your shock, from your injury, কি থাকে তাতে amniotic fluid থাকে, হয়নে? সেই amniotic fluid to কি কৰা হয় usually তোমালোকৰ it is injected out from the pregnant mother, and then what, it is being tested, okay, initially কিহৰ কাৰণে কৰা হৈছিলে এইটো, initially this kind of test was being carried out to detect any chromosomal abnormalities of the fetus, so if the fetus shows some anomaly, okay, anomalous behavior, or it shows some abnormalities in its chromosome, যেনেকৈ তোমালোকৰ কিছুমান genetic disorder থাকে that are from birth itself, right, such as your Down syndrome, yes, Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, sickle cell anemia, there are many uncountable genetic disorders, so যদি fetusত তোমালোকৰ এনেকুৱা কিবা এটা chromosomal abnormalities দেখিবলৈ পোৱা, initially সেইটো কাৰণেহে amniocentesis was originally developed, the test to conduct কৰা হৈছিল, ঠিক আছে। again মই তোমালোকক ইয়াতে extra information দি আছোঁ, so this chapter, okay, if we are talking about your human reproduction and your reproductive health, okay, these two chapters are usually actually তোমালোকে একেলগে পঢ়িব লাগে, তেতিয়া তোমালোকে ভালকে ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰিবা, সেইটো কাৰণে আজি আমি এনেকৈ questions কৰিম, ঠিক আছে। So this chapter is not just about it is not limited to your books and your exam, this is a very important social issue, okay, this is a very important social issue, especially when we speak about in a country like India, yes, where talking about sex, okay, or you can say sex education, this is a taboo, okay, it is তোমালোকৰ taboo নিচিনা treat কৰা হয়, so this is very important that you have to discuss openly। এতিয়া এইটো amniocentesis কি হ'ল, পিছলৈ কি হ'ল, this was being misused to detect the gender of the fetus, okay, detect the gender of the fetus, and then female infanticide, okay, female infanticide increased, okay, female infanticide increased as soon as the parents came to know that the growing fetus is a baby girl, okay, so as soon as the parents came to know that the developing fetus is a baby girl, they used to abort it, okay, this is a crime, okay, this is not legally allowed now in India, it was practiced, okay, it was practiced until the late 90s, you can say late 90s, okay, it was practiced, but now this is legally not allowed, and it is a crime, okay, it is punishable. If any of the doctor is being he is being indulged in carrying out such kind of test to detect the gender of the fetus, then what? Even he will get his license cancelled, okay? Even he will get his license cancelled. So it is very important, right? Previously, এটা তোমালোকৰ কি হৰ বাবে কৰা হৈছিলে? Detection of chromosomal, but later on, what did it do? People started misusing it, okay? They detected the gender of the fetus and then it led to your massive female infanticide. And what happens? If the number of female, they are less than your males, what will happen to the sex ratio? It will become disbalanced, right? Sex ratio will become disbalanced. And this is not the healthy sign for any kind of a society where the sex ratio is very low, okay? ঠিক আছে, the sex ratio মই বুজাবলৈ নাযাওঁ, এইখিনি তোমালোকৰ জেনাৰেল নলেজত পৰি যায়, হয়নে নাই? Anyways, okay, next question চোৱা, copper T, okay? Copper T কি হয়? IUD হয়, intrauterine device, okay? Copper releasing IUD হয়. Copper T prevents pregnancy primarily by, so how copper T prevents pregnancy? কেনেকৈ prevent কৰে? By increasing phagocytosis of sperms, okay? Increasing phagocytosis of sperms, decreasing sperm motility, yes, decreasing sperm motility and preventing your fertilization, okay? Again, remember, copper T does not prevent your ovulation, okay? Ovum will be released from the ovaries, no doubt. Ovum will be released, but when there will be intercourse, when there will be coitus, then what happens? Copper T will release what? Will release copper, right? Copper is being released and this copper will increase the phagocytosis of sperm. So it will lead to the what? Death of the sperm cells, right? And even if some sperm cells are still they survive, it will lead to their decrease, okay? The motility of the sperms will be decreased, ঠিক আছে? Will be decreased and also কি কয় তোমালোকৰ fertilization prevent কৰে, okay? So it prevents, copper T will prevent the meeting of your sperm and ovum, right? It will not prevent ovulation, ঠিক আছে? Okay. তাৰপিছত next question, which ART involves transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female? কি সুধিছে? ART বিষয়ে সুধিছে. What is ART? ART কি হয়? Full form assisted reproductive technology, okay? ART hoise assisted reproductive technology. Now there are many ART techniques available for, you know, that helps the infertile couples, or you can say even some people nowadays, you know, they choose to stay single by their choice, unmarried, but they want to raise their children of their own. So even such kind of people can actually give birth to a own child. কেনেকৈ possible হৈছে এইবোৰ বস্তু? They are possible only because of this ART techniques. This is assisted reproductive technology. এতিয়া coming back to this question চোৱা, কি সুধিছে? Which ART involves transfer of an ovum, okay? Transfer of an ovum from a healthy donor, okay? So suppose if a female, okay, if she has a less number of ovum in her ovaries, okay, no doubt her other conditions are perfect for growing or you can say for developing an embryo inside her womb, but she has limited number of ovum, or you can say very deficiency of ovum. There is no ovum left in an ovary. So for that kind of women, what you can do? We can collect a ovum from a healthy donor, and then that ovum is being what? Then that ovum is being transferred to the what? Transferred to the fallopian tube, okay? And then what happens? Then the you can say implantation occurs and the pregnancy is carried out naturally, okay, inside the body. Pregnancy is carried out naturally inside the body, right? So that technique is known as what? GIFT, gamete intrafallopian transfer. Gamete intrafallopian transfer. ঠিক আছে, আমি এইখিনিও ডিসকাস কৰিম, okay, in next questions. ইয়াতে মই নকওঁ, বাকিখিনিও আমি ডিসকাস কৰিম. ICSI কি হয়, AI কি হয়, IVF ET কি হয়, এইখিনি গোটেই ডিসকাস কৰিম, ঠিক আছে? এইটো বুজিলা? GIFT কি হয়? Gamete intrafallopian transfer. Gamete, ovum is a gamete here. Female donor, the healthy female donor পৰা gamete to লৈ কিনে কি কৰা হয়? It is transferred into the fallopian tube of the another woman who is in need of the ovum, okay, and then pregnancy occurs, by naturally, ঠিক আছে? Okay, done. Next question, IVF stands for IVF, জানা চাগে? In vitro fertilization, okay? IVF means in vitro fertilization. Commonly কি কোৱা হয়? test tube method বুলিও কোৱা হয় IVF test tube method বুলিও কোৱা হয় and the baby that is formed from the through this manner they are also referred to as what test tube baby ইয়াতে কি হয় কিয় test tube baby বুলি কোৱা হয় because you know the formation of zygote that is the meeting of your ovum and sperm it is carried out in a laboratory condition and then after the zygote is formed okay up to 8 blastomeres ঠিক আছে কি হয় মৰিলা ফর্ম কৰে হয়নে নাই আমি জানো এটো 8 blastomeres ফর্ম কৰে then what 16 blastomeres so 8 blastomeres stage to কোড তোমালোকৰ ট্ৰান্সফাৰ কৰা হয় then this transfer to your what fallopian tube okay fallopian tube and the you know blastomeres up to your or you can say the morula up to your 16 blastomeres it is transferred directly to your uterus okay it is transferred directly to your uterus ঠিক আছে এইখিনি মনত থাকিব হবো test tube baby বুজিলা now again next question সোয়া hormone releasing IUDs include কোনটো হয় copper no hoy multiple 375 again copper releasing iod hoy lips tube non medicated hoy pohilu ami ki hobo answer will be LNG20 okay so this is a combination of estrogen progesterone thik ase and when this kind of hormone releasing iod they are being implanted in your uterus what it will do this will prevent ovulation what ovulation that means there will be no release of ovum from the ovary okay and since there is no ovum so there is no chance of pregnancy ঠিক আছে so this is how hormone releasing iodes work okay in providing your contraception to prevent unwanted pregnancies done okay next question the most important component of reproductive health of your reproductive health is কি হয় reproductive health or karone কোন kita indicators ami sabo lage if in a population we have to okay suppose we are conducting a test then what factors we need to consider to say or to give a statement that this population is they are healthy they have a very good reproductive health ki sam ami population control only hoy jano absence of disease only is it or is it physical emotional behavioral and social well-being related to reproduction or is it your family planning only ki hobo so asun it will be option C honey nai option C so reproductive health doesn't mean only merely the absence of disease okay it doesn't mean merely the absence of your disease neither tumalokor only family planning bujay ki hobo reproductive health combines your holistic approach tar mane tumalokor physical health social society tumalokor keneke upheld kore during that period of your reproduction then your emotional health regarding you can if you are ready emotionally okay if you are ready emotionally to give birth to a child tar bisot ki hobo behavioral and also your social well-being kolom social mane tumalokor society how society upholds you okay how society upholds your married couple or you can say even a single person keneke tumalokok assist kore to carry out the reproduction okay to carry out the gestation period to deliver a healthy baby right healthy baby and healthy mother okay hey khini gute khini tumaloko reproductive health or determiners hoy thik ase okay monot rakhiba it is not merely the absence of your disease next one which method of contraception is called the natural method contraception ki hoy natural method kuntu hoy ki hobo natural method this is your coitus interruptus okay coitus interruptus so a natural method means what in this kind of method okay see this method is the most you can say it has least efficiency okay the least efficient method is your natural method it includes your coitus interruptus okay then aru eta tumalokor ase এটা তোমালোকৰ coitus interruptus তোমালোকৰ কি কয় periodic abstinence বুলিও কয় ঠিক আছে periodic abstinence okay withdrawal method yes withdrawal method and you can say aru eta asile tumalogor lactational contraception ঠিক আছে lactational tar mane ki hoy soa coitus interruptus means what itu tumalogor periodic coitus this is known as a withdrawal method sorry students this is also known as the what coitus interruptus is your withdrawal method boli koa hoy ঠিক আছে withdrawal this is also known as your withdrawal method this means okay the male partner what he will do male partner will withdraw himself before ejaculation. Okay, male partner is going to withdraw himself before ejaculation. So in this way there will be no semen deposition in the cervix, okay, of the female partner, and in this way you can say you can prevent pregnancy, okay, to some extent. But this is not efficient, okay, this is not efficient. There are the chances of failure of this kind of contraception method is very high. তাৰপিছত আৰু এটা কি কলো মই periodic abstinence. Yes, periodic abstinence মানে তোমালোকৰ if we say about a woman, okay, she is in her most fertile period for 1 week, okay, for 1 week. And if you want to increase the length, then it is roughly your 2 weeks, 14 days. Why is it so? Because menstrual cycle ami ki jano, it is a 28-day cycle, okay, menstrual cycle is a 28-day cycle, and ovum, that means ovulation occurs on the 14th day, exactly at the half of your menstrual cycle, thik ase, the release of ovum takes place, okay. So hekhini period ki kora hoy, the couple usually, then what happens, they do not indulge in your intercourse, okay, they do not indulge in your coitus, thik ase. So they abstain themselves from having intercourse, and in this way you can also prevent unwanted pregnancies, okay. Eto hol aro ta ki asle third natural method, this is your lactational, okay, lactational contraception. Tar mane ki hoy, if a new mother has given birth to a child, okay, and she is in her lactational period, that is initial 6 months, like I say initial 6 months ki hoy, and that initial 6 months she is doing exclusive breastfeeding, okay, exclusive breastfeeding. Logote tumalokor ki hoise, logote the new mother, she has not continued her menstrual cycle. Eta mane menstrual cycle tumalokor ako start hua nai. Tenuka khetro tumalokor ki hoy usually, okay, usually the chances of your implantation of another child, another embryo, the chances of your pregnancy, second pregnancy is very much less, okay, is very much less. But again, these methods moi jeneke kolu tumalokor, the chances of failure are very high in this kind of method, okay, thik ase, okay, done. Next question, which one is a barrier method of contraception? Barrier method, okay, ki pohi asilo ami etiale, hormone releasing, IUD, tabse copper releasing, then what, oral contraceptive, okay, these are different form of contraceptive. Eta time ami okoman agot ki salo natural method salo. Now they are asking about what barrier method. What kind of barrier method ki keneke kaam kore? Barrier method will actually prevent the meeting of your sperm and ovum physically, okay. Barrier method is going to prevent the physical meeting of your sperm and ovum, thus leading to your prevention of your unwanted pregnancy, okay. Ki hobo yate answer will be on diaphragm. So there are many barrier methods, okay. Condoms for male, then cervical cap, okay, cervical cap, then diaphragm, then condom for female, okay, usually. So a barrier method, okay, this is one of the best contraceptive method you can say, because along with preventing your unwanted pregnancy, it will also lead to your prevention of your STDs, okay. Then next question, medical termination of pregnancy, that is your MTP, okay, MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, this is considered relatively safe during, okay. So MTP kuntu time tumalokor usually safe hoy to conduct koribole, during which time, or you can say during which trimester medical termination of pregnancy is usually safe to conduct. Ketia hoy, this is during your first trimester, okay, first trimester mane initial 3 weeks, okay, initial 3 weeks, or you can say up to your 3 weeks hole, oh yes, tumalokor 20 to 21 days enuka hobo, thik ase, up to your 3 weeks. First trimester usually tumalokor etu safe consider kora hoy, thik ase. Why is it considered safe during this first trimester? Because the child has not developed, okay, the embryo has not developed yet, yes, and since the embryo has not developed, this process gets easier to carry out, okay, this process gets easier to carry out, because this is a highly septic technique, okay, this is a highly septic, you can say, surgical procedure, okay. MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, is a highly septic procedure. And students bodu tumaloke ki koribo phul ke tumaloke bujilwa je MTP, this is a contraception method. No, MTP is not a contraception method, okay. This is a termination of pregnancy ketia hoy tumalokor, and when is MTP being carried out, ki situation tumalokor MTP kora hoy. So there can be many situations, okay? If the mother's health is not, as per the norms to carry out, if she is not capable enough to carry out the pregnancy, okay? If the child is a result of your sexual assault, janeke moi ki kolu tumalokor rape cases, yes, it is very common in India, very common. Hetu karone ki hoy, hetu karone in, okay, this is a, in case in our India, this law is actually very much helpful, okay? It is legally allowed that even an unmarried or even a child, they can also undergo this procedure, because many of the child, they are being abused, okay? They undergo through sexual assault, they carry a unwanted child, and which poses threat to both the developing child and the mother itself, okay? And the women, usually this is a minor in many cases, okay? Hey, minor to ki hoy tumalokor, that minor girl, it is a threat to her life also, isn't it? So ki kolu moi tumalokor unwanted pregnancy hobo, if there is an, okay, if the pregnancy was unwanted, then ki hobo tumalokor, if the fetus shows some chromosomal anomalies, tar mane tumalokor genetic disorder thoka fetus, thik ase, tar bisot ki hobo, if you can say sexual assault moi kolu aru logote ki hobo pare, ketia ba sometimes the couple plans to abort it, okay? Henugua kesu tumalokor MTP usually kora hoy, conduct, okay? Usually conduct kora hoy, thik ase, done. Next question. So AIDS is caused by ki hobo, itu tumalokor janiba ki hobo, obviously virus hoy. Ki virus hoy, virus to ki boli kom, HIV virus, human immunodeficiency virus, HIV virus, thik ase, HIV virus, they are known as your retrovirus, okay? They are known as your retrovirus. Retrovirus kyo hua hoy? Because they convert your RNA to your DNA, okay? Retrovirus, they convert RNA to your DNA, okay? That is the reason why HIV as a whole, they are considered as your retrovirus, thik ase? Next, the period between your infection and appearance of AIDS symptoms may extend up to, period between your infection, tar mane ki hoy, HIV infection, mon rakhiba, AIDS, this is the last stage, okay? AIDS is the last stage of your HIV infection. Initially tumalokor AIDS diagnose kora nohoy, kiman sorry, tumalokor a person, suppose he is infected, okay? He is infected with HIV virus, okay? Initially tumalokor to AIDS kori declare kori nidiye, kiman time loy, this virus, how long can it take to manifest this kind of symptom, that is AIDS symptoms? It might take your 5 to 10 years. So age range to kiman digolia bosar hoy na nai. So that is the reason why, earlier detection, screening of these diseases is very important, right? It is very important, because you might not know that you are suffering it, or you are carrying this HIV virus. And usually tumalokor yate phase thake, thik ase, asymptomatic phase thake, and asymptomatic phase ki hobo, the patient, okay, the person that is infected with HIV virus will show no symptoms at all. But why he is harmful, do you know? Because why? Because even though he is asymptomatic, yet he can transfer this virus to another person, okay? Ki method hobo pare, contact, sexual contact boli ami jano, yes, that is the most common. Sexual contact ki hobo, blood transfusion hobo pare, yes. If you are taking blood from an HIV infected person, then what will happen? You will also carry that virus, okay? If you touch infected needles, yes, if you touch infected needles. And the last one is that if the mother, okay, if a mother is she is in her asymptomatic phase of HIV infection, then she can transfer this HIV virus to her fetus, to her developing baby, okay? These are the methods, but the most common method is your unprotected sexual intercourse with a HIV infected person, okay? So buzila noy ekhini kyo important hoy, okay? And so AIDS ki hoy moi tumalok kolu already, je AIDS, this is a acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Yate ki hoy tumalok, this virus, HIV virus, okay, it infects the T lymphocytes, it is CD4 helper cells, thik ase, CD4 helper cells infect kore, thus killing the WBC, okay? WBC ki kore amar body, they are responsible for defense mechanism, okay? it kills the WBCs. Does our immunity system it collapse? Lahe collapse hoy. Our immune system stops responding to any kind of virus, any kind of infection entering in our body. Okay, how harmful this can be, right? So it is why I am telling repeatedly, it is very important that তোমালোকে এই knowledge খিনি গম পালা, তোমালোকে নিজৰ ফ্যামিলি কোৱা, সোসাইটি কোৱা, হয়নে নাই? It is very important for you all to carry out this information. Okay, ঠিক আছে, then next. Okay, মই এটা অকমান ফাস্ট যাও, ঠিক আছে, টাইম তোমালোকৰ কম আছে. Vasectomy involves cutting and tying of your vasectomy. কি হয়? This is again a contraceptive method, but this is a permanent contraceptive, right? Contraceptive. So cutting and tying of your vas deferens, right? Vas deferens. That means this is a male sterility method where this tube, okay, vas deferens, the part of it is removed. Sorry, students. So a part of this vas deferens is removed, cut and tied, and this will prevent your release of your sperm. No doubt your testosterone will keep on secreting. Yes, testosterone secretion hoi ragibo, and even tumalokor ejaculation hobo, thik ase. The male person undergoing your vasectomy will still have the same libido. Okay, his sexual desire will not change, hormonal change nohoy eko, testosterone will keep on secreting, aru tumalokor baki khini gutei same thake. Just ejaculation tumalokor ki hobo, ejaculation tumalokor sperms will not be available. Okay, sperms will not be there. So if sperms are not there, then what happens? It is a safe method. Okay, safe method to have your intercourse. Okay, done. Similarly, tubectomy, this is this is a sterility method. Okay, sterility method, and you can say this is a permanent contraception. Okay, for tubectomy in case of your women or females. So this involves a ligation of your fallopian tubes. Vasectomy, vas deferens in case of males, and tubectomy, fallopian tubes in case of your female. Okay, same way. So if a woman undergoes tubectomy, okay, even then her ovum will be released. Okay, ovum is released. She will still have her menstruation. There will be no hormonal changes. Okay, so this is a safe method. Okay, sterility method is usually the safest method. Okay, ठीक है सर. The WHO launched programs. I think itu question তোমালোকে skip কৰিব পাৰা, ঠিক আছে? এইটো question ইমানটা important নহয়, you can skip it. The World Population Day is observed on July 11. Itu অকমান different kind of question হয়. Anyways, জানিলোত কি আছে হয়নে নাই? তোমালোকৰ knowledge to কেতিয়াও waste না যায়, so মনত ৰাখিবা. World Population Day is observed on your July 11. Okay, 11th July. Again, same question, which one is a copper releasing IUD? Copper releasing IUD কি হয়? Multilo 375 হয়নে নাই? Progesterone, LNG20 কি হয় এবোৰ? এইবোৰ তোমালোকৰ these are hormone releasing IUDs. Okay, then ICSI refers to কি হয়? ICSI full form intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Eto tumalokor ketia kora hoy? This process is being carried out, okay, when the male partner has some fertility problems, such as your low sperm count, decreased sperm motility, low energy in the sperms to travel. Okay, in that case, what is being carried out? The sperm is collected from the male partner, or sometimes if the male partner is not capable enough, then it is collected from a different healthy donor. Okay, and then sperm is directly injected into the cytoplasm of the ovum. Okay, cytoplasm of the ovum. That means it এই টেকনিকটো তোমালোকৰ কি হয়? বাকিখিনি স্টেপ যি থাকে, ঠিক আছে, the sperm আৰু ovum meet কৰিবলে বাকিখিনি স্টেপ যি থাকে, সেই স্টেপখিনি তোমালোকৰ স্কিপ কৰি ডাইৰেক্টলি তোমালোকৰ ফাৰ্টিলাইজেশনত যায়, হয়নে? In this way, no pregnancy can contraception conceive. The women can conceive. Okay, women can conceive. ঠিক আছে, এটো সোয়া কেতিয়াবা তোমালোকে ICSI টো AI বুলি পাবা, ঠিক আছে, আৰ্টিফিশিয়াল ইনসেমিনেশনও পাবা, আৰ্টিফিশিয়াল ইনসেমিনেশন বুলিও পাবা, meaning same হয়, ঠিক আছে? আৰ্টিফিশিয়াল ইনসেমিনেশন তোমালোকৰ কি হয়? sperms collected হয় from a healthy donor, and then this is injected to the ovum, directly ovum তোমালোকৰ inject কৰা হয়, ঠিক আছে? When the the male partner has some fertility effect. Okay, sorry, fertility defect. Then so contraceptive pill developed by your Central Drug Research Institute Lucknow is, so this is your Saheli. Monot rakhiba, it was developed by your Central Drug Research Institute Lucknow. ঠিক আছে? Which STD is caused by a bacterium? কি হয়? Bacterium, gonorrhea. আমি পাইছো already, হয় না নাই? বাকি কেটা তোমালোক কি হয়? AIDS, genital herpes, hepatitis B, all these are viral STD. Okay, these are very harmful. These are very, it can be fatal if not treated properly. Okay, if they are not treated earlier. Then next question is what the transfer of an early embryo with up to 8 blastomeres into the fallopian tube is known as, কৈছিলো মই যে 8 blastomeres লগত তোমালোকৰ ট্ৰান্সফাৰ কৰিব পাৰে, and some of the morilla up to your 16 blastomeres they are also transferred. কি হয় 8 blastomere it is transferred to your fallopian tube transfer করা হয়, that is zygote intrafallopian transfer. Okay, ZIFT means zygote intrafallopian transfer. And blastomeres, embryo with up to 16 blastomeres it is transferred to your directly your uterus. It is your intrauterine transfer. So hetu keso tumalokor IUT hoy. Okay, done. ঠিক আছে, এটা তোমালোকৰ কি হয়, these are the parts of your IVF. Yes, test tube baby, in vitro fertilization. Done. Next question, so the acrosome of sperm is derived from, কি হয় acrosome, the cap-like structure sperm, it is derived from your Golgi apparatus. And acrosome, this has this releases your certain enzymes which helps to break the layer or the outer wall of your ovum. Okay, penetrate the ovum penetrate koribo karone tumalokor acrosome is it helps the sperms to penetrate the wall of the ovum. ঠিক আছে, so acrosome, this is the cap-like structure of your sperm. Head of thake, at the head of the sperm acrosome is present, cap-like structure, and this is derived from your Golgi apparatus. Okay, enzyme কি পাই তোমার hyaluronidase. Yes, এটো enzyme তোমালোকৰ পোৱা যায়, হয় না নাই? Next one, capacitation occurs in, so এখিনি question মই গম পাও আমি কৰিছো already, but তোমালোকে সোয়া এখিনি question মই আকৌ ভাবিলো it will be kind of your again তোমালোকৰ revision হৈ যাব, হয় না নাই? এটো তোমালোকৰ important question খিনি মই তোমালোকৰ লৈছো, ঠিক আছে, no doubt. এবাৰ চাই দিয়া কি আছে, হয় না? because সোয়া reproductive health তোমালোকে questions, if you see PYQ series যদি তোমালোকে সোয়া ইমান এটা questions তোমালোকে নাপাবা, হয় না? so যোনখিনি important আছিল মই তোমালোকক ভালকে বুজাইলো, questions আহিলে তোমালোকৰ হেখিনি পাটৰ পৰা আহিব, হয় না? so এতিয়া আকৌ এবাৰ আমি human reproduction to আকৌ এবাৰ আমি revision কৰিলো, loss কি আছে, হয় না নাই? loss তো একো নাই. so সোয়া capacitation occurs in what? This is your female reproductive tract, হয় না নাই? capacitation means what? That is the maturation of your sperm cells take place. Okay, maturation of your sperm cell takes place because as soon as they enter, okay, when semen is being deposited in the cervix, they are not capable, sperms are not capable to fertilize the ovum. So capacitation and the maturation of the sperm cell occurs in your female reproductive tract. Only then they can fertilize the ovum. Human chorionic gonadotrophin, HCG, this is a what? This is a hormone. This is the one of the earliest pregnancy hormone. It is secreted by, কোনে secrete করে? corpus luteum secrete করে, হয় না নাই? corpus luteum secrete করে human chorionic gonadotrophin. And the clinical application of this hormone is the kits. Okay, the Prega News kit, the pregnancy kit that are being available in the pharmaceutical stores. This kit they detect this HCG in urine. Thus they can they can confirm whether women has conceived or not. ঠিক আছে, next question, the trophoblast is attached to the endometrium during, trophoblast is attached to the endometrium during কেতিয়া হয়? trophoblast কি হয়? trophoblast later on it develops to what? placenta. Yes, it later on develops to placenta. So this is attached to the endometrium during your implantation. Okay, implantation. ঠিক আছে, হবো? and so when the trophoblast is attached to the endometrium during your implantation, that particular event your confirms pregnancy. Okay, confirms pregnancy because the mere fertilization of your ovum and sperm does not confirm pregnancy. Fertilization is different, implantation is different. And fertilization mane je tumalokor pregnancy tumalokor confirm koribo pariba? No, that is not the case. Many times what happens, even if the zygote is formed, okay, even if the zygote is formed, the zygote fails to implant in the uterus. So this will not lead to pregnancy. Only when the morula, the that forms 8 blastomeres, তোমালোকৰ upper outer layer কি থাকে, outer layer তোমালোকৰ trophoblast থাকে, when this cell get implanted in the uterus, okay, তোমালোকৰ কোনটো হয়, কোনটো attach হয় implantation time ত, trophoblast layer, the outer layer, okay, outer layer, হে তেতিয়াহে তোমালোকৰ pregnancy confirm হয়, ঠিক আছে। Next one, hormone responsible for milk ejection, কি হ'ব, milk ejection, not production, ejection কাৰণে কোনটো হয়, কোনটো hormone, this is your oxytocin, okay, oxytocin, this hormone is responsible for milk ejection, whereas your prolactin hormone, this is responsible for your milk production, okay, milk production, আৰু এটা লগতে কি আছে তোমালোকৰ progesterone, this hormone, progesterone hormone, this is known as a pregnancy hormone, very important hormone, progesterone, because it helps to maintain their pregnancy throughout. So progesterone hormone will take part in the development of your alveoli inside your mammary gland, okay, মনত ৰাখিবা এখিনি, progesterone will help to develop or they will contribute to the alveolar development inside your mammary glands. Oxytocin কি কৰিব, milk ejection through your lactiferous duct, whereas your prolactin will, this will take part in your synthesis, that is production of your milk, ঠিক আছে। এই তিনটা হৰমনৰ তোমালোকে ফাংচন খিনি ভালকে মনত ৰাখিবা। Which hormone maintains pregnancy, or you can say তোমালোকক এইটো কোৱেশ্চন কেতিয়াবা কি হ'ব পাৰে, এনেকৈ দিব পাৰে যে which hormone is known as the pregnancy hormone, right? So এই কোৱেশ্চনটো কেনেকৈ সুধিব পাৰে কেতিয়াবা, which hormone is also known as the pregnancy hormone, ঠিক আছে। কি দিয়া আছে ইয়াতে চোৱা অপশ্যনত, estrogen, follicular stimulating hormone, that is FSH, progesterone, and lastly what, luteinizing hormone, হয়নে। এই সাইড এফেক্ট কোনটো হ'ব আনসার, pregnancy maintain কৰাত কোনে সহায় কৰে, or you can say the main hormone, or you can say কি ক'ব পাৰা, the hormone that is also known as your pregnancy hormone, answer is your progesterone, okay, always remember. So ইয়াতে মই তোমালোকক এটা সৰু ট্ৰিক দি আছো, pregnancy hormone pregnancy word starts from what, starts from the letter P, right? Progesterone hormone, etu hormone তোমালোকৰ this term starts from the letter P, right? So etu P এনেকে মনত থাকিব, হয়নে, just a trick, ঠিক আছে, এটো ট্ৰিক তোমালোকে ইউজ কৰিব পাৰা, কেতিয়াও না পাহৰি নাযাবা। So whenever you say pregnancy, তাৰ মানে কি হ'ব, main pregnancy hormone বুলি ক'লে কি হ'ব, progesterone হ'ব, ঠিক আছে, এনেকে ৰিলেট কৰিব পাৰা। So এতিয়া progesterone কিয় pregnancy hormone বুলি কোৱা হয়, functions থাকিব তেনেকুৱা কিছুমান, হয়নে। So the functions of progesterone hormone is to what, maintain the endometrium, okay, then helps in the implantation, helps in the fetal development, right? ঠিক আছে, এইবোৰ তোমালোকৰ এই গোটেইখিনি ফাংচন কোনে কৰে, progesterone কৰে, ঠিক আছে, maintaining the endometrium, then what, helping in the implantation of the fetus, right? ক'ত হয় implant, uterine wall হয়নে নাই, uterine wall হয় implant, আৰু implant হলেহে তোমালোকৰ কি হ'ব, pregnancy will be confirmed, right? Just mere fertilization of your sperm and ovum, it doesn't confirm pregnancy, okay? The implantation of the what, fetus, right? Or you can say implantation of the blastocyst, right? এটোহে তোমালোকৰ কি কয়, this confirms your pregnancy, okay, ঠিক আছে। So এই গোটেইখিনি, and also it supports, progesterone supports your fetal development, okay, fetal development, ঠিক আছে। এই গোটেইখিনি ফাংচন বাবে কোনে ক্যাৰি কৰে, progesterone hormone ক্যাৰি কৰে। So without progesterone hormone pregnancy cannot be continued, okay, pregnancy cannot be continued, ঠিক আছে, হ'ব, মনত থাকিব। আৰু if we talk about the secretion and production and release, কোনে কৰে progesterone hormone release, কোনে কৰিব। So early phase of pregnancy কোনে কৰে জানা, early phase of pregnancy তোমালোকৰ it is released from the pituitary hormone, okay, pituitary gland, not hormone, sorry, pituitary gland, right, in the early phase. But in the later phase it is released from the placenta, okay, placenta, ঠিক আছে, very important, again placenta also acts as an endocrine gland, মনত থাকিব এখিনি। Next question চোৱা, Sertoli cells are responsible for which of the function? Is it your testosterone secretion, or is it your nourishment of sperms, that is nourishing sperm cells, or is it your ovulation, or is it your milk secretion? কি হ'ব ইয়াতে, so milk secretion এনেও নহয়, হয়নে, আমি অলপ আগত চালো milk secretion বাবে কোনটো ৰেসপন্সিবল হয়, oxytocin hormone, ঠিক আছে। Sertoli cells ovulation এনেও নহয়, because Ovulation, this is a process in your female reproductive system, right? And in your female reproductive system, we do not have any Sertoli cells. ঠিক আছে, so answer either testosterone secretion hobo, নহলে বা কি hobo, nourishment of sperms hobo. হয় না নাই? এতিয়া চোৱা, Sertoli cells, these are, the another name of these cells are what? কি বুলি কয়? Sertoli cells, they are also known as your nurse cells, right? Also known as your what? They are also known as your nurse cells. Why nurse cells? Because they help in the nourishment of your developing sperm cells or spermatozoa. Okay, and you will find Sertoli cells inside your seminiferous tubule. ঠিক আছে, and what is seminiferous tubule? This is the functional unit of a what? Testis, right? Functional unit of a testis. ঠিক আছে, so Sertoli cells, they help in the nourishment of sperms, maintaining the sperm cells, they help in the spermatogenesis. Okay, এইখিনি function হয় Sertoli cells. ঠিক আছে, মনত থাকিব এইখিনি। আৰু location কি হয়? Sertoli cells are found inside your seminiferous tubule, right? Done. Next question চোৱা। Next question কি হৈছে? Leydig cells. Okay, Leydig cells secrete which hormone? Progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, oxytocin. কি হ'ব ইয়াতে? So I think this question is easy, right? Options চালে তোমালোকে কৰিব পাৰিবা। Leydig cells, again, do we find Leydig cells in our female reproductive system? No, we do not find. আৰু একেটা কি হয়? Option A, C and D কি হয়? Progesterone, estrogen, oxytocin, these are your what? These are your mainly responsible, they are, you can say their functions are mainly responsible for carrying out your pregnancy. ঠিক আছে, so the left out option is what? Option B, testosterone হয় না নাই? So এটো তোমালোক options পৰা eliminate কৰিব পাৰিবা, হয় না নাই? কিন্তু সোৱা, in your questions এনেকে নিদিব পাৰে কেতিয়াবা, because this question is from what? 2016 or হয় না? কিন্তু বহুত তোমালোক পুৰণা question হয়, so এনেকে নিদিব পাৰে এতিয়া why? Because the level of difficulty has increased, right? So সোৱা ইয়াতে Leydig cells, এটা বস্তু মনত ৰাখিবা, Leydig cells, they secrete the male reproductive hormone, that is your testosterone. So testosterone, this is also known as the male reproductive hormone. Why? Reason kyo? Because it helps in the what? Formation or development of your secondary male sexual characters, right? ঠিক আছে, and it also helps in the spermatogenesis. ঠিক আছে, হ'ব, এই দুটা main function হয়। And you will find Leydig cells between your two seminiferous tubule, okay? In the space between your two seminiferous tubule, not inside the seminiferous tubule. ঠিক আছে, লোকেশনটা মনত ৰাখিবা। কি হয়? Leydig cells আৰু Sertoli cells মাজত again এটা confusion create হয় বহুতৰ, হয় না? এটো confusion এটা create হয়, so হেখিনি ভুল নকৰিবা। Sertoli is always inside and Leydig cells, they are always between two seminiferous tubule, and they secrete, Leydig cells secrete your male reproductive hormone testosterone. ঠিক আছে, next question soa, the first menstrual cycle is called, second very easy question, right? First menstrual cycle ami hokole jano, this is known as your menarche. Okay, menarche, and it usually occurs between the age of your 9 to 12 years of age. Okay, etu tumaloko range thora hoy, thik ase, 9 to 12 years of bhitorot girls attain puberty. Okay, girls attain puberty, and this puberty, the first onset of your menstruation, you can say that reflects the what? That reflects the starting of your menstruation. ঠিক আছে, first menstrual cycle তোমালোকৰ menarche বুলি কয়, ঠিক আছে, okay? And বাৰু হ'ব, এটা নালাগে, এটা নকওঁ মই, ঠিক আছে, এটা নালাগে, বেলেগ কোৱেশ্চন কম আমি, ঠিক আছে। The entire, you can say, the entire menstrual cycle is different, okay? This is just the first phase, and the first menstrual cycle, or you can say first menstruation, this is known as your menarche. Whereas the cessation of your permanent cessation of your menstrual cycle, it is known as your menopause. Okay, menopause jana, menopause or menarche ki hoy? Menarche is the onset of menstruation, the first menstruation that a girl gets in her in her reproductive cycle, right? That you can say that is the onset of reproductive cycle. Whereas menopause marks the cessation, permanent cessation, okay, not temporary. Because why? Because sometimes due to many reasons, such as there are many reasons, okay. It can be your stress, it can be your food habits, it can be your lifestyle, it can be your hormonal imbalance, it can be your situations or conditions such as your PCOS, right, polycystic ovarian syndrome. এইবোৰৰ বহুত ৰিজনছৰ কাৰণে কেতিয়াবা কি হয়, কেতিয়াবা women, okay, a young women can also suffer from your you can say temporary cessation of your menstruation. tar mane 1-2 months she might skip her menstruation. So hetu kami menopause nodhoru hoine, hetu ami menopause nodhoru. Menopause kuntu kom jetia permanently cessation hoy, okay, there will be no release of ovum and there will be no menstruation. Hetu ki hoy, hetu menopause. It usually occurs around, you can say, late 40s, right, late 40s and early 50s age dekhibole poa jay. So somewhere around 49, okay, 49 to 52 years of bhitor tumalokor menopause dekhibole paba, okay, thik ase, done. Then next question, so ovulation generally occurs on ovulation. This is marked by what is ovulation? Mane ki hoy ovulation? This is the release of your ovum, yes, ovum or egg, or another term ki hoy, ovum ok ami ki boli kau, secondary oocyte, hoine nai. It is released from where? It is released from your Graafian follicle, isn't it? The Graafian follicle ruptures and secondary oocyte is released. That process is known as your ovulation, hoine, yes, and it occurs on your day 14 of your 28-day menstrual cycle. That is exactly at the midpoint, okay, exactly at the midpoint your ovulation take place, thik ase. Aru kuntu hormone responsible hoy for ovulation? Which hormone induces ovulation? This is your luteinizing hormone, LH surge, okay, LH tar mane luteinizing hormone surge, okay. It induces what? It induces your rupture of your Graafian follicle and release of your secondary oocyte. It is released from where? Ovum is released from where? It is released from your ovaries, right? Ovaries pura ovum release hoy and fertilization code hoy. Different, okay, etu report no hoy, but still hudisu, fertilization code hoy oviduct hoy, mane fallopian tube hoy, hoine nai, fallopian tube hoy, thik ase, mon thakibo ekini. Implantation code hoy, implantation hoy uterine wall, right, uterine wall code hobo endometrium, thik ase, okay. Tar pisot so next question, the corpus luteum mainly secretes which hormone again? Kuntu hormone secrete kore corpus luteum? Corpus luteum ki hoy gode koason? Corpus luteum, this is the leftover part of the Graafian follicle after the rupture of the what? Or you can say after the release of your secondary oocyte during ovulation, thik ase. Junkhini tumalokor cell ba tissue actually, okay, the tissue that is being left over after the secondary oocyte or the ovum is released during ovulation, that part forms the corpus luteum, okay. That parts form the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum is very much essential to maintain your pregnancy, right? And if there is no pregnancy, okay, suppose the ovum is released and there is no pregnancy, okay, there is no pregnancy, there is no implantation of the blastocyst, or you can say there is no fetal development, ki hobo etia corpus luteum will degenerate, right? Corpus luteum will degenerate. But if there is a pregnancy, then the corpus luteum, okay, corpus luteum is maintained by which hormone? It is maintained by your human chorionic gonadotrophin, which is one of the earliest pregnancy hormone. And clinical application ki hoy, HCG hormone, that this hormone, this is easily detected by your preganeous kit, okay, in the urine, and this confirms your pregnancy, okay, thik ase. So corpus luteum mainly secretes ki hoy? It mainly secretes your progesterone, thik ase. Progesterone hormone mainly secrete kore in the early phase of pregnancy. Later phase of pregnancy kone secrete koribo progesterone? By your placenta, thik ase, placenta, okay, mono thakibo ekhini hobo. Then so next question, ki hoise the release of ovum, okay, release of ovum from your Graafian follicle. Graafian follicle is called as what? Ki hobo? Moi ei matro kolu hone na, release of ovum or secondary oocyte. Mono thakibo ekhini etu term mono rakhiba, ovum or secondary oocyte from your Graafian follicle. as a result of what? Luteinizing hormone surge. Okay, তাৰ মানে luteinizing hormone যেতিয়া increase হয়, levels of luteinizing hormone increase, it leads to the rupture of your Graafian follicle and release of secondary oocyte, and this is known as your ovulation. This is known as your ovulation. So ovum is released from the egg. Remember students, during each cycle, okay, during each cycle only one egg is released. Okay, only one egg is released. ঠিক আছে, তোমার থাকিব not multiple eggs from the ovary, and both the ovaries they contain your equal number of eggs. ঠিক আছে, equal number of eggs. So one egg is released at one time. Not like enuka নহয় যে দুটা ovary তোমালোকৰ একেলগে ৰিলিজ কৰিব, হেনুকা নহয়, simultaneously. If one time your left ovary releases ovum, then the next time your right ovary is going to release the ovum. এনেকে হয়, ঠিক আছে, because both the ovaries contain your roughly equal number of ovum. Okay, তাৰপিছত the inner cell mass of blastocyst develops into which part? Blastocyst, blastocyst again it is very important. Okay, etu question tumalokor blastocyst or the structure, the function bhalke pohiba, because etu question ekhini part important hoy, thik ase, important hoy. So ki hodise yate inner cell mass hodise of blastocyst, right? Blastocyst ki hoy? So as it is zygote formation hoy, then what happens? Mitotic divisions hoy, the cell increase in number, okay, increase in number, but size remains same. Okay, cell or size so same thakibo, only the numbers gets increased. First to malko 8 blastomere hobo, then ki hobo 16 blastomere, then ki hobo 32 blastomere, right? Eneke double hoy, increase hoy goi thake, mitotic divisions hoy na nai, thik ase. So the last stage of that cell mass, this is known as your blastocyst. Hoy, blastocyst ki hoy? Blastocyst tumalokor germinal layers formed hoy ne? So eta tumalokor ki thake, inner cell mass ata thake, and you will find the upper layer, that is your trophoblast. Okay, upper layer of cell, this is known as a trophoblast. So trophoblast is responsible for forming the placenta. Okay, forming the placenta at the later phase of pregnancy, right? Thik ase, and the inner cell mass will form your what? Inner cell mass will form your embryo. Okay, embryo. So inner cell mass will later develop into embryo, whereas your trophoblast, means into outer layer of blastocyst, it will form your, in the later stage of pregnancy, it will take part in the formation of your placenta and chorion. Okay, placenta and chorion both. ঠিক আছে, বাকি amnion মানে জানা, amnion কি হয়? This is the amniotic sac. Yes, amniotic sac, so তোমার amniotic fluid থাকে, which helps in the shock absorption and also gives the fetus to move around in the uterus, or you can say in the womb. Okay, ঠিক আছে. Then next question, so the placenta secretes all except which hormone? কি শুনিছে ইয়াতে? Since we know that placenta acts as an endocrine gland, hoy ne? Placenta acts as an endocrine gland. Tar mane ki it secretes many hormones during the pregnancy, right? It secretes many hormones. So it is very important. Edi yate hudise se yare tumalokor kuntu hormone placenta secrete no kore. HCG dia ase, HCG mane ki human chorionic gonadotrophin, HPL human placental lactogen, তাৰপিছত relaxin, আৰু লাষ্টত কি আছে তোমালোকৰ FSH, that is follicular stimulating hormone, হয়নে? এটা কোনটো সিক্ৰেট নকৰে প্লেসেন্টাই? This is your FSH, হয়নে? FSH. So follicular stimulating hormone is released from your pituitary gland, okay, not by placenta. হবো ঠিক আছে? প্লেসেন্টা বাকি এই গুটেই কেটা ঠিক আছে, হিউম্যান কোরিনিক গনেডোট্রফিন, হিউম্যান প্লেসেন্টাল ল্যাক্টোজেন, রিল্যাক্সিন, অক্সিটোসিন, নহয় সরি, এস্ট্রোজেন, প্রোজেস্টেরন, এই গুটেই কেটা হরমোন, okay, all these hormones, these are secreted by your placenta, ঠিক আছে, except your FSH, because FSH and LH, okay, that is luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, they are secreted by your pituitary gland. হবো ঠিক আছে? Okay, so this is the last question, I guess. Yes, so this is the last question. So ki hudise yate, the membranous structure connecting the fetus with your placenta is known as membranous structure connecting the fetus with your placenta. So ami janu je fetus aru fetus aru mother's blood kihe tumalokor connect kore, placenta connect kore, thik ase, placenta connect kore, we know that, okay, we know that, but placenta aru fetus kune connect kore? Placenta aru fetus kune connect kore? There has to be some connection. So placenta connects your mother's blood with your fetus blood, okay, But placenta আৰু fetus কোনে connect কৰে? There is some structure, there is a membranous structure, cord-like structure কি হয় এইটো? এইটো তোমাৰ umbilical cord হয় হয়নে নাই? So umbilical cord acts as the passage, okay? Acts as the passage of transporting nutrients, okay? Nutrients, then your oxygen, water, minerals from your mother's blood to the developing fetus. And also it collects, okay, umbilical cord connects the waste materials, waste products excreted by your fetus from the developing fetus to the placenta, and then from the placenta it is being released in the mother's blood, and the mother she excretes these waste products through her body. Clear? ঠিক আছে? So umbilical cord, this plays a significant role, okay? ঠিক আছে? হ'ব? হল বুজিলা এখিনি? So with this lecture is over. ঠিক আছে? তোমালোকে practice কৰা, তোমালোকে সোৱা questions খিনি পাৰিছে না নাই, concept খিনি সোৱা হ'ব। আৰু যদি তোমালোকৰ if you have any form of doubts, if you have any form of feedback যে মই নাই, মই এনেকৈ বুজাব লাগে, মই এটো questions কৰিলে ভাল, please মোক জনাবা, because again I'm telling you, your feedback is most welcome। ঠিক আছে? Okay, so let's meet in our next class then. Thank you everyone and bye bye.